GM. GM. So, my Discord has been asking me for this particular masterclass for RTA. And I decided that now is the right time to release this for you guys because Fearless Arena is opening up. Okay? And the entire idea here is to, talk about how to get yourself out of, platinum, gold, plat, and get yourself into diamond. Because in the lower ranks, you guys have a whole different meta. And in the diamond ranks, it gets a little different, right? And why is that? So let's talk about the frameworks here. Now, I want to preface this first, okay? I'm not here to tell you to draft X, Y, Z. But what I'm here is to give you the framework, the ideas, and some things that you can practice in Fearless Arena. Okay? So, the first framework that we have to talk about here, right? So let's write it up here. Framework. Okay? You have to understand the fundamentals of RTA in the lower ranks. Alright? And the first thing that we have to, come to terms with, right? Is that RTA, right? In lower ranks is the Wild West. And what do I mean by that? That means anything and everything goes because of one simple reason. You guys don't have a pre-ban, right? You guys don't have a pre-ban. It is 5 animus, no, mirror animuses, obviously, and then you ban one. Okay? Which means the format is extremely similar to, guess what? Fearless Arena. Okay? And now, I know a lot of people, they do not like playing Fearless Arena. And even if they do, they just fucking go in there and half-ass it, right? And half-assing it is not the play, and I'll tell you why. Because Fearless Arena has the exact same format as your rank at the moment. Because if you're watching this, you are kind of stuck, aren't you? Okay? And I have that, everyone has been telling me that. Okay? A lot of people in my Discord have been telling me that. And if you guys want help, of course, join the Discord, description's down below. Come chat with us. But that's besides the point. The point here is, because we know that Fearless Arena is very similar to what your rank format is, you should be playing that a little bit more because it gives you practice. And that's why I'm releasing this video now, okay? Instead of, much earlier, because now you get to watch this and immediately try it out, okay? Your job is to go to Fearless Arena and actually play that and get used to the format. Do you meet a lot of scrubs in Fearless Arena? 100%. 100% you will. Okay? But the entire idea here is you want to learn what the entire drafting format, the flow, the sequence is all about. Right? Because you have the same, capability without losing the ranks. And that's where most people, feel like, RTA is hard because they're losing ranks. They're losing elo. Fearless, you don't lose elo. You get to test whatever the hell you want. You lose, that's fine. Go out, come next. You get rewards. You get stamina. You get mental stabilizers or stamina pots, right? Happy days. Okay? So that is the framework. You know that it is the Wild West. You know that the format is extremely similar to Fearless Arena, which means, right? The third and most important framework that everyone just don't do. They just don't do. Okay? Is, practice makes perfect. Okay? This is actually the most important thing, and I may sound like a broken record, but you need to have a lot of practice before you actually get good at drafting. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot help you in any other way except telling you this. Why? Because in my entire, journey of playing gachas, right? And mostly just PvP gachas, Epic 7, Dislike. Even at one point, I also played, right? When it had RTA. I have, clocked in my hours in playing RTA that I know what to do. Okay, I see a draft, I can immediately identify all the things I need to do very, very quickly in a split second, right? And so that's because I've already put in the work. If you guys are coming into Etheria Restart and you're fresh and you want to try out RTA, you want to get good at RTA, but this is your first PvP game, you have to do the third framework non-stop while understanding the first two frameworks. Okay? So don't be afraid to try Fearless Arena. We are going to get a reset. That's going to come out, and that is at the point of this recording. Okay? I forgot to mention that. At the point of this recording, Fearless Arena is, unlocking again during the weekend. So for you guys who are watching later on in the future, during the weekends, go into Fearless Arena, do that mode, all right, and live in that mode for a bit. Okay, get used to it. So now with that out of the way, I want to talk about a couple things that might help you, all right? Because when you're going to Fearless Arena, you need a plan, okay? And a lot of the reasons that you are not doing well in Fearless Arena is all, just RTA in general in the lower ranks to get yourself to Diamond, is because you don't understand a couple of concepts, okay? And so what I want you guys to do, and what I'm going to be talking about in this portion of the video, is talking about things that I want you guys to think about, brain exercises that I want you guys to, use while playing Fearless Arena. I don't want you guys to just go in there and just willy-nilly click 5 enemies, go in there with your draft, lose, don't understand why you lost. Okay? So, let's talk about some tips. Okay? Let's just talk about some tips here. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to, practice doing a lot. Okay? Now, this is not something new, all right? All of this is, a culmination of, me playing a lot, me talking to friends, and, things that the church, my guild, have come up with, right? And we date back to, all the way back to Dislight, all right? Where we used to play a lot of RTA, we just used to talk strategies non-stop, and these are a couple of things that we have talked about. And the very first one, okay, that I want you guys to, try and learn, okay, is understand your pairings. Okay? And what do I mean by that? That means you need to know what pairs with what well. Okay? Because if you think about the draft is, 5 enemies is big, right? It's a draft of 5. Okay? You want to be able to know how to pair your drafts like this. Okay? Let me just grab a different color here. Let's go with, let's go with blue. Okay? Or you can even look at, colors like this, right? Or even, something like this. Or, let me just get a different color here. Let's get green. Or it can even be something along the lines of, maybe something like this, right? Whatever it is, okay? Whatever it is, you need to know how to look at your draft and know that there are combos and there are pairings within your draft, okay? And so what I want you guys to do is when you guys are picking the next time, think about it, all right? For example, if you are going to go second, right, your second pick, you already immediately have the chance to draft 2 units, all right? I don't want you to think about all the deeper fundamentals. Think about your first 2 picks being a combo, all right? So, pick in combo, either a pair or a triple, okay? So, what do I mean by that? For example, if you're going second, right? A combo here, a very simple combo here, would be something along the lines of like Suki plus Messiah. Okay? Or Yeli, for that instance. Doesn't matter, right? What does that do? That means you're using Suki to push a DPS, give it attack up, give it speed up, and then you just nuke, right? Another pairing you can think about that is quite common, right, would be something like a Tia plus a Sanya. Okay, and why Sanya specifically? Because Sanya's S3 is an all-powerful heal, right? That gives Tiamat more HP. And you know, Tiamat is already a bruiser that scales off HP. The more HP you have, the more damage you do, right? Another combo that you can do, right, is something like a Lily plus, let's say, a Kazuyo. Okay? Because Lily's going to push Kazuyo, Kazuyo's going to sleep everyone, and then she's going to constantly get Kazuyo to assist her, which puts everyone to sleep. That's a combo. Agree? Okay? Another combo, alright? Thinking about, let's say we are going, first, right? You get to pick your first pick. You get your first pick, and then you're going to pick 2, right? That can be a combo of 3. You know what I mean? And so, think about combos along the lines of like, let's say you first pick, let's choose everyone's favorite, okay? Everyone's favorite here is, they go first pick Lily, right? So you can go first pick Lily, and then now you can go Lily plus, let's say a Rahu, okay? And then we can choose another unit here, plus a Lilium. Now, why is this a combo? Think about it. Lily is going to push Lilium forward, Lilium is going to attack, and there is a good chance, right, that Rahu is going to assist attack. Okay? And then the following subsequent turns, Lily is going to assist with Lilium, and Rahu is also going to be there doing assist attacks. That's a combo. That's a combo. Okay? So, this is things that I want you guys to think about when you are drafting. Don't just draft without intention. That is the next important thing. Okay? So, let's just erase all of this. Okay? Let's erase all of this. Let's come here. Alright? I want you guys to draft with intention. Okay? And what do I mean by that? That means you're not going to worry about how to counter draft your opponent first. Okay? If you lose, you lose. Whatever. Fuck it. Go again. Right? But you have to draft with intention. And the intention here is to learn how to see combos. Okay? Which ties up to your first point here. Okay? Draft with intention. Go in there and go, alright, so I want to play CC. What do I need to make CC work? Right? So let's say you, right, wanna play CC. Okay? What do you need? First thing you need strips, right? You need people to strip away all the buffs. Okay? Especially Bulwark. Right? Then you need your first CC unit to crowd control, and then you need a defense breaker in some form or another, right? A death breaker here. Okay? And why do you need a death breaker? Because your CC units are not doing a lot of damage, you need to lower their defense. And so that is the general idea of drafting CC. So you can think of like who does strips? So Obo does strips, right? Hein does strips, Mia does strips, who else? Borkney does strips, right? So we have a couple there. CC, who are your CCs? You got Kraken, you got let's say the Kazuyo. Why did I blank there? I don't know. Kaz is so famous. We got Mio, right? With the freeze. We now have Nahor as well, right? Nahor. And then who are your defense breakers, right? We have, at the moment, we have Kloss, which is your premium defense breaker. We have Nahor again, right? Who does defense break AoE. Defense breaks, this can come in the form of, let's say an S1 like a Rahu, or even, Holden with an S1 defense break. Even a Yeli, right? And so when you start seeing this, you can see, okay, so if I'm looking at my units and I know that I want to play CC and I need a stripper, I need a CC, I need a defense breaker, what can I merge the two roles into one? So for example, you can use Yeli as a DPS and a defense breaker. So you can use as Rahu, and so you can do it Holden, right? You can even use Nahor to do CC and Death Break. So you're pairing, your CC and your Death Breaker together, right? Like this, okay? That's another idea. Okay, and that is the second thing that I want to talk about. I want you guys to draft with intention. Okay, if you can draft with intention, then we can move on to step 3. Okay, so step 3, let's go and get rid of this. Okay, because we don't need that. Beautiful. Now, the third thing that I want you guys to really practice, because in the wild west of being in the low ranks, okay, you have to learn how to identify what your opponent wants to do to you immediately. You can't wait. You can't wait. And actually, to be very frank with you, this gets even more important in the higher ranks. Because in the higher ranks, you have a pre-ban and you have a ban protect. Okay? Because if you cannot read what your opponent wants to do in the ban protect, you're kind of fucked. Okay? And if you can't tell what they're trying to do through the pre-ban, you're also screwed. But in the lower ranks, before you hit diamond, where you get your pre-bans, if you play someone and you see how they draft on their first pick, you can make an educated guess on what they're trying to play, and then you can now start implementing number 2 to draft with intention. Okay, so the third one is identify. Okay, if I can spell, identify your opponent's draft ASAP. That's the best way I can put it. As soon as possible. If you take a little longer, maybe you take on pick 2, 3, or maybe at pick 1, 2. Doesn't matter. Just don't do it on pick 4, 5 before you realize, fuck, he's trying to do a cleave or he's trying to bruise or whatever. Okay? Identify your opponent's draft as soon as possible. Then you can implement the second part here, which is draft with intention, because now you're trying to, combine and compound. Okay? And then understand your pairings. Okay? And so you can see that this is very subsequent. All right? It's a compounding exercise. Okay? Compounding exercise. Okay? You have to be able to do the first thing first before you do the second thing, and then you can do the third thing. So for example, for the third one, all right, because I've given examples for the first and second, I'll give examples for the third too. If you can identify your opponent's draft as soon as possible, you know how to draft with intention. And your intention there is, okay, I know that he's going to play CC. So I'm going to draft my first 2 units, okay, to tell him I don't want you to play CC. And if you're going to play CC, that means you're telling me you're banning one of these 2. Okay? And those 2 units that you pick then have to be your intention already. And then now you can think about how to pair them with units. Does that make sense? So, for example, if your opponent first picks Lily, right? E.g., okay, let's just write that down there. Your opponent goes first pick Lily. Now, a lot of times, this is what's going to happen. Agree? I don't know if you guys have felt it, but a lot of the times, a lot of people will just first pick Lily because Lily is so broken. That's what everyone claims and thinks. And so, when you see someone first pick Lily, they're going down one of 2 routes, all right? And you are going to help them choose their route. If they go first pick Lily, they can go down the CC route or they can go down the aggro route, right? And so, if you cannot deal with CC very well, you're now drafting with intention, agree? You're going to tell them, alright, I want you to play CC, and if you're going to play CC, I know you're banning one of these 2 units. So you can go first pick, your first 2 picks, or for pick 1 and 2, you can go Doki Doki Link, for example, okay? If you can play CC very well yourself, right? And your opponent goes first pick Lily, then you can contest them and say, I'd rather you go and play, some kind of tank hybrid or pivot yourself into damage, and then I'll race you, right? And so you can go maybe first pick Doki Doki Lilium, for example. Or you can go, Kazuya Obo, just to take away all their CC choices, so now they're forced to go and play a different style, right? So that is how you identify your opponent's draft ASAP, and then go from there. If you know that your opponent first picks Lilium, for example, right? 90% of the time, all right, I'm quite certain that they want to play CC themselves. Okay, that's the whole point of them picking Lilium, right? They're doing 2 things. They want to play CC themselves, and they don't want you to play CC. Okay, So if you can already understand that that's what they're trying to do with the first pick, Lilium, then you can draft with intention here. You can go, okay, I see you to your Lilium. I will draft 2 initiators and 3 DPS and good luck. We are going to play speed here. Alright, so I'm going to take away both your initiators. So now you have to play pure CC. And if you're not faster than me, I'm going to kill you. Okay? Because remember, I'm going to put a screenshot right here. Okay? Right there, I'm going to put one. That is the triangle format that we were once in. Okay? Of course, it's now tilted. But I just want you guys to remember what the triangle was. And you can always try to push your opponent into that playstyle. Right? Because what did I say? Aggro beats CC. Okay? So that is basically understanding how your opponents draft. Alright? If your opponent goes pick 1-2, if your first pick, you want to tell your opponent what you want them to play already. So like, I already gave you the Lilium example, that's one of them. Okay? A lot of people will start with Doki because they don't want to deal with CC. That's also a viable option. But there you have it. Now, I don't want to go any further than this. This is more than enough for you guys to practice and to get yourself out of Platinum into Diamond. Okay? And then when you're in Diamond, let me know in the comments down below that this has helped you. You have found value. You're now in Diamond. And now you are having problems in Diamond. Then I will create an entire, guide or masterclass on how to push from Diamond onwards. Okay? But that's the video. Hopefully you found value. If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one.